how to solve this cube. Let's go. You may think that doing this with the Rubik's Cube is impossible. But today I'll be showing you a simple method that I learned to effortlessly solve the cube that is in your hands right now. Just beware, try not to skip around this video because I'll be talking a lot and you might miss some crucial information. Before we start, there are 3 concepts that are crucial to grasp so that no misunderstandings about the cube come about. If we take one of these cubes here and we take it apart, we'll see that there are 3 types of pieces. There's the core, consisting of 6 centerpieces that never move. Even in patterns like this, the pieces around the centers are moving, not the actual centers. Now these are called edge pieces. You know they're edge pieces because they're on the edge of the cube and they have 2 colors on them. As you can see, these 2 colors are all in one piece and these 2 colors never split. These are corner pieces, and you can see that they're corners because they are obviously on the corner of the cube, and they have 3 colors. Once again, these 3 colors are all attached to one piece, so these 3 colors never separate. These are not crucial things to know, but just make sure not to confuse yourself trying to separate 2 colors that will always stay together. Now, I'm going to do a very short tutorial on notation. Hold your cube with the green side facing you and the white side on top. Now, turn the top side like this. This is called doing an upturn, or in notation, this is called doing a U. Now turn the green side, the front side like this. This is called doing a front move, or a F in notation. Now turn the right side like this. This is called doing a right turn, or a R. Now the rest is pretty self-explanatory. This is a L for left, this is a B for back, and this is a D for down. And when turning the middle like this is called the M. This won't matter that much in the first steps of solving, but they'll be key to remember when doing the final steps to solving the cube. You can see if you turn the cube like this, there are 3 layers, 1, 2, and 3. And this will be how we solve the cube, otherwise known as the layer by layer method. The first step is to solve the white daisy like this. Now you solve the white cross like this. Then you solve the white corners like this. This solves the first layer. Next, you flip the cube over and solve the middle edges, solving the second layer. Your cube should look like this. Now, you orient the top edges like this. Next, you orient the top corners like this. Now, you permute the top corners like this. Now, you permute the top edges and solve the rest of the cube like that. Alright, here's the first step to solving the cube, solving the white daisy. Here's how you do that. So just look around the cube and try to find an edge piece with white on it. And remember, the edge pieces are the pieces with 2 colors on it. And yeah, I found one right here. It is the orange and white edge piece. So once you found it, if your piece is in one of these, so first of all, hold your cube with a green front, yellow top. And if your edge piece that you found is in one of these 4 spots, then just move the bottom layer until you can just bring it up like that. Mine isn't though, So if your edge piece is on the top, like mine is, then put it in the front of you. So don't put it here, here, or here. Just do upper moves until you can get it in front of you, like this. And you do a F move. Remember, F move is a front move. so that you can get it into one of these 4 spots. So now that you've got it into this spot, all you have to do is just connect this white to this yellow by just moving up like that. And that's how you solve 1 petal of 4 petals of the daisy. Alright, and now if your edge piece is on the bottom, like my next piece is, just get it to the right side, like mine is. Or let's use this edge actually. So if you look at it from here, this edge is on the left side. So you just have to move the bottom layer. You can just, with some trial and error, you'll get it to the right side, like this. And all you have to do is just make sure you're not removing any solved pieces on the top. So this piece is solved, and if I were to bring this up like this, that will mess up this. So just make sure to move your solved pieces over so that when you bring this up into one of these 4 spots, you don't mess up this piece. So it was in the bottom, my piece was in the bottom right here, this bottom layer, but I was able to move it up with a right or R move, and then move the bottom 2 layers to get it to a place where I can insert it right here with 1 move, like that. Now let's find another edge piece. I see one right here, and since it is on the top, actually, yeah, since it is on the top and we already have 2 petals solved, I have to make sure I'm not messing up these when I bring it down, and I'm not. So if it's on the top, remember you have to bring it to the front of you, and then you do a F or a front move to get it so that you can bring it up with 1 move, like this. So now there's only 1 more edge that I need to find with white on it. Let's look for it. It's right here. And since it's on the bottom, we use down moves or D moves, and we just bring it to the right side like that. And now we have to bring it up over here by doing an R move like this. So normally I would just go like this, right? So that it's in the middle layer, but that will mess up this piece. So what we have to do is we have to move these already solved pieces to the right, or actually to the left, whichever way you have to move it, so that we have this space like an open slot where we can just move this up. And since it's in the bottom, now we can just move the bottom 2 layers to get it to a place where we can move it up with 1 move and connect this with this, like that. So now we've solved the white daisy. So now we want to solve the white cross like this. We just have to find 1 of 4 edge pieces that we want to solve. This is the green and white. So I found the green, and keeping yellow on top, we have to find the green center, which is right here. Now, using U or up moves, we have to move this piece so that it matches up with its center. And then we can just bring it down with a double right move. So again, we find one of the edges which has green on it, green and white. So it's green, so we have to find the center. This is the center. So we just bring it over so that it matches up. And then we can just bring this piece down, like that. So now I see this other edge piece. It is the white and orange. So I have to find the orange center, which is right here. So we can bring this piece over like that to match up with the orange, and then we can bring it down. So now we find this edge piece, which is the white and blue. So we have to find the blue center, which is right here. So then we bring this over to match up with the blue, and we bring it down. And finally, our last piece is the white and red edge piece. So we have to find the red center. It's right here. So we just bring this over with up moves so that it matches up, and then we just bring this down like that. And you can see that we've solved the white cross. These are matching, and also these are matching. So just pause the video and try to see if you can solve the white cross. So now we have to solve the white corners, which, if you remember, are these 4 pieces. And to solve the corners, we're only going to be using one algorithm. And an algorithm is just a sequence of moves to solve a specific case. So here's the algorithm. It goes R prime, D prime, R, D. And you might be wondering what the apostrophes are for. And those just mean that we're turning the face counterclockwise. So for F, for example, a F would be like this because we're going clockwise, and a F with an apostrophe, or a F prime, would just be a counterclockwise move. So same with the right, we turn like this, and then we can see that an R is turning it clockwise, and the R prime is just turning it counterclockwise. So the algorithm is turning the right face counterclockwise once, the bottom face counterclockwise once, and then you're turning the right face clockwise once, and then the bottom face clockwise once. We're gonna solve the white corners. So look on the bottom layer and look in these 4 spots. Here, 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 or here. So if you're looking at it like this, it's here, 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 and here, right? And you have to see if you can find a corner piece, which is a piece with 3 colors that has white on it. So I found one right here. This has white on it, and the other colors are green and orange. So you have to look at those other colors and find the centers with these other colors. So you have to find for me, I have to find the green and orange, which is right here, the green and orange. So now you have to use the top 2 layers and move them like this until you can get your corner piece in between its centers. So as you can see, this is orange and green and white. So this is orange and green. Once you've got your corner piece here in between its correct centers, it should be in one of 3 combinations. So if your corner piece, when you hold white on top, the white center on top, and your corner piece is in between its 2 centers, if the white side of the corner piece is facing right, then do the algorithm I showed you. So you turn the right side counterclockwise once, the bottom counterclockwise once, and then the right side clockwise once, and the bottom clockwise once. And this will put the corner in its correct spot. If your corner piece is in between its correct 2 centers and the white side of the corner piece is facing down, then you do the algorithm I showed you 3 times. And if your corner piece is in its spot with its correct centers next to it, and the white side of the corner is facing towards you, then you do the algorithm I showed you 5 times. So you might be asking, what if I have my corner piece on one of these top places right here, and it's not on one of the bottom slots? Then what you have to do is you take your corner piece and you use the top 2 layers again and move it so that it's in the front right slot. It can't be in the front left or the back right. It has to be in the front right here. So once you get it there, you just do the previously shown algorithm. So you just hold it like this, and then you do a counterclockwise R, a counterclockwise D, a clockwise R, and a clockwise D. This will get the corner from here to the bottom, where you can then solve it as normal. So if you want, pause the video and try to solve your corners. And in the next screen, I'll have timestamps for all the places I explain each algorithm in each case. So welcome back. After some trial and error, you should have been able to solve the corners. Now, the next step is to flip the cube over and solve the edges. So the obvious first step here is to take your solved white layer and put it on the bottom. All right, so after you have flipped your cube over, the first step is to find an edge piece that doesn't have yellow on it. So I found one right here. This is the blue and orange edge piece. And you'll see that when you find one side of the edge piece is on the top and the other side is on the sides here. So you have to look at the color that's on the side, which is orange, and you have to find the orange center, which is right here. And then you move the bottom two layers until your side of your edge and your center match up. So you've matched up your side of your edge and your center. Now you have to figure out if your edge piece is going here or here. The way you do that is you look at which colors are on the edge piece. Mine has orange and blue. And you have to look at the centers, the orange and blue centers. And I found mine orange and blue. So that means this edge is sliding down here when I'm done. And if your edge is going to the left, just stick with me for a little bit. But if yours is going to the right, this is the algorithm you do. So you do a U, R, U prime, R prime, and then you rotate your whole cube like this. So basically you rotate it to the left so that this block here is on the left, and then you do a U prime, L prime, U, L. All right, so now I'll explain what you do if your edge is going to the left. So you see here, I have the green and red edge that I want to solve. And you find the green center, it's right here, and you use the bottom two layers, connect them. And then since this is the red and green, I want to find the red and green center, which is right here, red and green. So that means this edge is going here, not here like last time. It's going here, and this will be green and this will be red. So what we do here is we hold it like this, and then we do a U prime, L prime, U, L. We rotate so that the pair is on the right, and then we have the white side of the corner facing us. And then we do a U, R, U prime, R prime. All right, so I know some of you guys are getting frustrated because your edge is in the middle layer and not on the top. So what you do there is you just pick any random edge that you see with yellow on it. So just pick this one, and then you just do the algorithm. So if you want to take out this edge, for example, because this is the blue and orange and it's in the wrong spot, we want it here. And we have to take it out and put it into the top. So what we do is put a random edge into this spot. So let's just do this one. So just do the algorithm that I just showed for putting the edge into the right. And as you can see, that brought this edge that used to be right here out into the top layer. Now we can just solve this edge. And if you have a case like this, where your edge is on the left, just the edge that you want to take out is on the left. Just rotate like this so that it's now on the right side, and you can use the algorithm that you used to move the edge down to the right. And with that, you should have been able to solve the first two layers. Congratulations. This took me a very long time the first time I did it. So even if you just completed it, good job. All right, hello. So this is a little summary of the steps that you have to do to solve the last layer. So the first step is to orient the edges, which is basically to solve a yellow cross. And then you orient the corners, which is basically solving the entire yellow side. And then you permute the corners, which is basically rearranging them to completely solve them. As you can see, they're solved, and then you're left with a cycle of edges. And the cube is solved. The edges can be in one of 4 states. First, they can have no edges oriented. There can be 2 edges oriented, but they're next to each other. There can be 2 edges oriented, but they're across from each other. And of course, there can be all the edges oriented. You can solve all of these cases with just one algorithm, but just doing it from different angles and a different amount of times. So let's go over what you would do for each case. So if you have 0 edges oriented and you just have this center, there's just one yellow center sticking up, you would hold it from any angle, it doesn't matter, you can do it from anywhere, and you just do this algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And then you'll get this kind of arrow shape here. And you want the arrow pointing to the bottom right. Just remember that. So when you have 0 edges, you do F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Get the arrow pointing to the bottom right, and then do that same algorithm 2 more times. And that'll orient the edges. Next case. If you have 2 edges oriented, but it's in a line, what you would do here is you would just hold it with the line horizontal and you would do the same algorithm. And that would orient the edges. Next, if you have 2 edges oriented, but they're next to each other, also the arrow, you have to point it to the bottom right and do the algorithm twice. And that will orient the edges. And lastly, you don't have to do anything if it's already oriented. There are a total of 7 combinations that the corners can be in, but like the edges, they can all be solved with just one algorithm, just doing it from different angles and a different amount of times. So the algorithm that you're gonna do goes like this. R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And here is a chart of how you solve each case. Alright, now that you've orientated the last layer, or done OLL, which is orientating last layer, you can now solve the rest of the cube. This step can be broken down into 2 steps, otherwise known as 2-look PLL, or 2-look permutation of last layer. There are a total of 21 PLL cases, but you will only need to know 2 algorithms to solve them all. So the first look to 2-look PLL is solving the corners. The first step is to look around the cube and look at the sides and see if you can see any corners with matching colors next to each other, like this. These are called headlights. So find what color they have in common, which is, in my case, red, and you have to find that center. So I found the red center, and you just connect it like that. And then you do this algorithm. R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. And if you're looking around the cube and you can't see any headlights, just do the algorithm for any angle, and then you'll be able to find headlights, match them to their center, and do the algorithm. Alright, congratulations, you have reached the last step. It would just feel bad to not completely solve it right now, so just stick with me for a few more minutes and you'll have solved your Rubik's Cube. You have now solved all the corners of the last layer, so now we're going to solve all the edges. So first of all, just look around your cube and see if you can find a block or a line like this. If you cannot, just sit tight for a couple minutes. But if you can, find what color that is. Mine is orange, so you find the orange center right here. Match it up, put it on the back, and do this algorithm. M2, U prime, M, U2, M prime, U prime, M2. So, the M's go by the L notation. So when you do an M, it's doing it clockwise if you're looking at it from this angle. This is kind of hard to remember, so just do it over and over and eventually you'll get it. But this solves the case when this edge, when you have the block on the back and this edge on the right needs to go here. If you have the case where this edge needs to go across to here, then you just do the algorithm twice. And that solves the cube. If you do not have any blocks like this, it can look like that too if you don't have any blocks. But if you don't have any blocks, just do the algorithm for any angle. And then you will get a block, and then you just find its color, orange, match it up, put it in the back, and then do the algorithm. And that will also solve your cube. Okay, so hopefully, if all went well and you watched this entire video, you have solved your first Rubik's Cube. Congratulations, not many people can solve it, so good job. And even I took a whole day to solve my first cube, and my dad had to help me because I got too frustrated. So if you're able to solve it without anyone's help, huge congrats. And if you had somebody help you, I had someone help me too, so you know, we're good. Okay, so now I'll actually suggest scrambling your cube again. And I know, like, oh my gosh, this is so scary, but you should try your first time solved just to see how fast you can do it. And just have this video pulled up on the next screen. I'll have all the timestamps to where all the algorithms you need are. So if you need them, just click on them. So pull up your stopwatch on your phone, scramble your cube, and get solving. Good luck. Alright, it's getting dark and I'm losing natural light, so I'll see you tomorrow when I talk about what to do next. Speed cubing. Speed cubers are anyone who has just put an effort into getting faster at solving the cube. So if you gave an effort to solve the cube fast that first time solve that you did, then you're a speed cuber. Speed cubers range from averaging several minutes to a few seconds, and the cool thing about cubers is that everyone is truly treated equally. So if you're solving the cube in 15 minutes, you'll fit in perfectly with someone who averages 15 seconds. And that is a really neat thing about the cubing community. A community. This is really what the worldwide spread of the Rubik's Cube has created. Solving Rubik's Cubes has truly spread worldwide, and literally a million people all around the world can connect with this cube. Cubing is unique in a way that it includes everybody, even people all over the world. Age and language barriers don't matter because everyone can relate and communicate without words. There is a certain connection at competitions when you're just sitting on a big table with a group of strangers. Nobody really needs to talk, and just solving next to somebody who cubes is really fun. Now let's talk about competitions. Once you get up to speed, averaging about 10 minutes, it might be time to look for a competition to attend. Alright, hello everybody. This is the worldcubeassociation.org website. As you can see, this is the home page. And once you have made an account, it will show up in this corner right here. And you can click on my results. I'll show you my results, I guess. Yeah, so But we'll go right here and you can see my how many competitions I've been to and how many completed solves I've done. And these are all of my best results in the single and average categories in all these different events. And these are my medals that I've gotten, and these are all of the competitions that I've been to. I've not been to too many, but I've been to one in I started in 2016, and the last competition I've been to due to the pandemic is January 2020. And these are the events that I've competed in said competitions. So let's go back here to the home page and we can go to competitions and all. This is where you're gonna find any competitions near you. Right now, since the pandemic is happening at the moment, there's only competitions in China and Australia, but I'm sure if this pandemic settles down, there will be a lot more competitions near you. Yes, competitions in progress are under here, and the upcoming competitions are right there. And if it wasn't for the pandemic, there would be a lot more countries that are on this page. I mean, there's obviously some countries like Russia and Russia again, El Salvador, and some US competitions. But those are just like, four countries, and there'll be a lot more if the pandemic settles down. So first of all, let me just tell you one thing. If you're ever uncertain of anything in a competition, like where to sit or anything like that, just ask. You may think that someone is gonna judge you, but I am 100% sure that that won't happen. So with that said, let's go over how competitions work. You most likely will be competing in the 3x3 event, which is this cube. And if so, this is how you do it. First of all, just look around the venue or listen to directions by the organizer and find a table with scorecards that look like this. If you can't find it, again, just ask. Once you find it, put your cube on the scorecard with your name on it, like that, and just go to the waiting area. And if you can't find the waiting area, just ask again. Then wait until somebody calls your name. This person is called the judge or the runner, and this means that you're going to do your first solve. Go to where the runner says to go and then sit down. You can warm up a little bit and the judge is gonna tell you. And then when you're actually ready, you tell the judge when you're ready by saying yes or I'm ready or whatever you want to say. And the judge is gonna start a stopwatch for 15 seconds and lift off the cube cover. And when he says 8 seconds, just get ready to do your solve and put your hands on these two black parts right here and make sure these two lights turn on and start your solve. Once you are done with your solve, place the cube down and put your hands back on the black parts, like that. Your judge is then gonna write down your time. The judge is also gonna sign the card where it says judge, and he's gonna hand the card over to you, where you are gonna sign it right here. Once you do that, the judge is then gonna take the cube cover, the cube, and the card and take it to the scrambling station. Now, go back to the waiting area and do this for the remaining 5 solves. Once you've finished your final solve, which is the 5th solve, you are not going to give the cube to the judge, but you're going to take it because the judge doesn't need it anymore and you can just go back to where you were sitting and practice. But the judge does have to take your card so they can submit your results into the WCA. If you have checked the psych sheet before you attempted your results on the WCA, then you can kind of judge if you made the second round or not, or if you actually don't know if you made it, or if it's really close, you can just ask somebody that knows, or ask one of the organizers or something like that. And if there's only one round in the competition, just go chill out with your new friends that you hopefully made. And you can also watch other people's solves too. I would recommend watching faster people than you so that you can see how to get better. And try not to be disappointed if you didn't make the next round or you did worse than you wanted to, because you get a lot more nervous in competition rather than at home. So that could affect your results too, or it might have just been a bad day. So just don't get too hard on yourself and just keep practicing. So in conclusion, go to a competition, make friends, and start your cubing journey from there. So with that said, I hope that I could give you a little head start in what to expect from the cubing community and how we operate in competitions. And also, I want to share one final thing. How we all now share something in common. We solve the Rubik's Cube. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.